I want to start this as with a prayer. You okay with that?
Yes.
So this is a 3-part prayer. First I'm going to do a prayer, then I'm going to go into the part on guidance, and then the part on grace. Bless this journey that is my life. Lord, bless my journey today as I go deeper into the vast territory of my soul. Just when I think I know myself, I discover a stranger living inside of me. I must accept the truth that I am an endless unknown creature, even to myself, perhaps especially to myself. With every new experience, I have to wonder, how will I cope? How will I respond to that? What will I say? I can never be certain what I will do next. There is so much about myself that I do not yet know or understand. Why then should chaos surprise me? I'm spinning in a wind tunnel, watching the fragments of my life rush by. It is not up to you to stop those fragments. There is no prayer that will move heaven to piece together the odds and ends of my life. But you've given me the authority, and it's up to me to become more aware, more attentive, more focused. That is my decision. Clarity of mind and soul will change how I live my life. A chaotic life ends up tossed about by fate, but clear-mindedness leaves room for courage and bold choices. Self-knowledge, Lord, I have discovered, is the pathway to the soul, so take me down deep, Lord, and reveal to me my true self. Amen. Now a note of guidance on that. One of the more incomprehensible truths in life is that we are strangers to ourselves. We are not born knowing ourselves at all. We discover who we are through our own life experiences and relationships. We are never finished getting to know who we are. This is perhaps the core truth that makes commitment so risky. Nothing about us is certain or permanent. The wise person pursues the truth about his or her nature and cooperates with the governing laws of life. Buddha taught, for instance, that change is constant, and that attempts to stop something from changing or dying or progressing is the source of suffering. The wise person embraces the governing laws of life and uses them as a guide. While living in harmony with nature cannot prevent pain or loss from happening in your life, that wise lifestyle choice can greatly reduce unnecessary suffering that comes from working against the laws of nature. And now a word on grace. Wisdom is a renowned grace, one of the first graces noted again and again in the Old Testament. Wisdom is the grace that brings a human being into contact with the collected experience of all humanity and encounter with the Akashic records. We've all met wise souls. The grace of wisdom comes through their eyes and in their words, often spoken by someone far too young for words so profound. Great people are remembered for their wisdom. One wise teaching has the power to inspire people for generations. He who does not learn from the past is destined to repeat it. The wise truth is as applicable for the journey of a single life as it is for the journey of a nation. Wisdom is the plutonium of the human experience. There we are. So I'm combining medical intuition, the science of medical intuition, and mysticism. They have merged in my life and become one and the same. In a sense, they are the, I don't know how to separate them now. And in a very real sense, I stopped doing medical intuitive readings because I entered the mystical perspective. And I want to explain that journey to you so that you can appreciate where I want to take you in this next couple of days together on our short but very profound, what I hope to be profound mystical journey. It's going to be longer behind your eye than it will be in front of your eye. I hope that the journey I take you on behind your eye will be long-lasting for the rest of your life. I want to start with just a bit of an overview to kind of position something that again and again it takes my breath away. And that's this moment in time in which we are living, that you can easily ignore, you can easily become unaware of, that you must not become unaware of. You must not become unaware of this time in which you are living and the rare, rare significance of this time. Because it's truly a privilege to be alive now. But you really need to grasp the extraordinariness of this time that we are in and why it's so extraordinary, and that it has so much to do with being a window on understanding everything that's happening to you, within you, around you, what's happening to you neurologically, what's happening within your cell tissue, why we relate differently to each other, why we fear intimacy yet are drawn to it, why we no longer fit into the myths of God but we cannot stop searching for the new ones, why every single species on our planet is undergoing a transformation and some will not make it, why every nation is undergoing this sense of change. Our currencies are changing. Our currents in the atmosphere are changing. There is not one aspect of life now, not one, that is not participating in this time of change. Not one aquatic creature, not one airborne creature, not one human creature, not one. You have to really sit back and get that. There is no place you can go to say, I don't want to participate in this. There is no place where you can say, I think I shall move to this gated community, so I shall keep everything out. There is no place you can go to be separate from the whole. Because if there is a lesson that we are finally going to get, it is that what is in one is in the whole. Where all of us go, we go together now. This idea that some will survive and others will not is the rich person's illusion. You cannot buy the illusion anymore that you can afford the illusion with money that you exist separate from the whole. I want you to put it this way. I want you to think of it in this absurd terms, that there you have one cell tissue in your body that somehow has amassed some money, and it's decided, and it says to the rest of your body, but I am richer than the rest of you, so if you get cancer, I will survive. That is no different, none, than what these idiots are thinking, who believe that they can build survival places, silos, places apart from the rest of humanity. Do you understand? Enough. This is a moment of profound transition, where the rules of our existence are changing. So from a total, and believe me, I am not an Armageddon theologian. It's the last thing I am. I get high on the power of the holy. I get high on it. What makes me nuts is that people don't see how close, how intimate, how powerful they are. So, where I want to take you is that you learning like a trick or two in medical intuition is nonsense to me. None of you is going to work as a medical intuitive. But what you need to know is how powerful you are. You need to know how you work in terms of your energy system. You need to understand the laws, the governing laws of your energy field. You need to understand that with every choice you make, there's an energetic consequence. That's how prayer works. This is where I believe we're going. I believe, and I'm going to take you there step by step, but I'll just get to the finish line and then I'll back up. And this is the book I'm working on. I just read you a prayer from the book I'm working on. I'm working on a book called The Holy Language. Prayer, Grace, and Guidance. Right? Because it's my thesis that we don't fit into conventional religion anymore. And I'm not criticizing it. It has served its purpose. But those mythologies don't fit anymore. And I will explain that to you biologically, health-wise. We've outgrown them because they teach separation, and our health now insists upon what is in one is in whole. So you can't afford to believe something that tells you you have to be better than somebody. It's bad for your immune system. So, we've reached a place in our evolution where the spirituality we must adapt now is one in which it applies equally to our nature as it does to nature, as it does to the governing system of life. So that we have a bio-spiritual holy ecology. Because God is law. So what is in one is in the whole. Just like Jesus said, just like Buddha said. As above, so below. So as I teach you the laws and walk you through, you understand the universe is two things. It is totally impersonal and totally intimate. Both are true simultaneously. But there is not an off-planet God that looks like us. And the time has come to let go of that. And for a lot of people, that's too much. They can't do it. They still need to have a father figure off-planet with a beard and a December 25th calendar. And no, I must have my calendar. Just like when they discovered the world was round, there were cartographers that died with their maps of the flat world. They could not accept. They insisted there were sea monsters. And they died believing there were sea monsters and the world was flat. Because they needed that. And they couldn't make the transition to a round earth. And there were how many people believed that the sun revolved around the earth. They could not accept Copernicus and Galileo. We are at that kind of moment. A moment of an epoch, transition of reality itself. And when that happens, structures come down. Structures come down. You grew up believing you had 5 senses. You don't. You have at least 30. And there'll come a time when human beings will be taught that. And they'll look back and we will be a generation that for them looks like we grew up on candlelight versus electricity. That's what primates we are when it comes to our psychic fields. We are on candlelight. That's how little you know about yourself. So, let me just give you, how many of you have never been with me before? I see many familiar faces. Oh, victims. To those of you who have been, some of this is going to be a little bit of a repeat on the intro, so just let me get I don't have many drawings, but I do have a few, but this is a very helpful one. I love this drawing. This is you, and it's going to work, and it's very helpful. Because you are a building. I want you to think of yourself as a building. And that, just like a building, once you are built, once you're born, the only movement at that point is inside the building. Because you as a structure are already established. So if you think of a building, every time you go up a floor, you get a different view of the very same address you've always lived at. So if you're on the first floor, and this honestly, as I tell everybody, because it was the truth, I had this experience. I went to visit a friend of mine in New York. It was a hot summer day, and getting to her place involved coping with New York, honest to God, on a hot summer day is filled with very impatient people. And as many of you know, and so that, the traffic and the taxis are, and what I just don't get in New York is, why do they keep honking the horn? It cannot change the lights. It can't make anybody go any faster. Nobody can do anything. But it's the only city I've ever been in the United States where they can't stop honking. That doesn't happen in Chicago. I'm mad at Chicago. But it just really, I'm so mad at that town for getting that cold. I'm not sure I'm talking to it. But New York does not, they just can't stop themselves. So in the summer, it's like, and I got to her building. And another thing, they don't have alleys in New York, so the trash is out in front. So combine that on an August day when it was like 99. And so, I walk in, and I take the elevator, and this friend of mine actually did live in the penthouse. So she had a balcony, which was honestly no bigger than, not even this whole porch, not even, just like 3 bricks of this. It had a table and 2 chairs and lots of plants, but this is big real estate in Manhattan. And when we got out on her deck, on the whatever floor it was, maybe 18th or 20th, I can't remember. But here's the point. It was, honestly, it had to be maybe 5 or 8 degrees cooler. You could feel it. It was cooler. 2, it was quieter. And looking down, it was like being in a different world entirely. Number 3, you couldn't hear all of that. 4, you couldn't smell all of that. So we sat down, we had an iced tea, and as evening came, And the lights of the city lit up. I could see the Empire State Building, and I could see like the bridge light up, and it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. But if I went down to the, thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Hannah. Bless you. Okay. If I went down to the first floor and, let's say, said to someone on the first floor, do you realize what a lovely view you have? And you could see the river and you could see the bridge. On the first floor, they would say, you don't know what you're talking about. I do not live near the Hudson. There is no bridge. Now, this is the same address. This is your first floor in you. This is your first floor consciousness. But your penthouse, in your penthouse, and that high consciousness of yours, in the very same address that is you, you have the capacity to, from the very same building you were born and raised in, to be in the same reality that you're in, and view it completely differently. Completely differently. Totally differently. To see a distance from the very same address. Like, how far can I see from this address? How far can I see? Instead of thinking I am totally limited by where I am and who I am, how far can I actually see from who I am and where I am? Because everybody has a penthouse in them. Now, here's what's true. And I've learned this, and I'm going to explain this to you in slow motion in a few minutes. But just like a building, every time you move up a floor, it's going to get more expensive. And consciousness is very, very expensive. Every time you move up, what you are moving is your capacity to perceive truth, to see more clearly, to get a bigger, broader, clearer perspective on the way you understand people, the way you understand yourself, your own motives, why you do things the way you do, why you say things the way you say them, why you're motivated the way you're motivated. It's not as you, I'm going to sneeze and I can feel it coming on. It's driving me crazy. As you are going up the clarity on the first floor, you're motivated by wanting to understand others. Because you think that's going to make your life better. Getting into others, controlling others. That's a first floor thing. But what consciousness is about is that you actually begin to realize, my task, I will be driven nuts if I am constantly motivated by wanting to control every single person I meet. That can't possibly be the best use of my energy. That makes me manipulative, deceitful. I will never be an honest person. How can I be? Because I have to change my story with every single person in my life in order to control them. I have to tell every single person a different version of the same thing in order to be site-specific in my control tactics. I will never be an honest person. It's impossible for me. If my goal is to control all these people. Do you understand that? I had to hit a pause button. Do you get what I just said? If your goal is to control others, you will always be a deceiving person. Number two, If your goal is to be controlling, you will never be healthy. They X each other out. So give up on the vegan food. You will never, ever be healthy. Because that kind of behavior X's it out. Now, the whole point of becoming conscious is at some point, you get over the third floor, you realize my goal is to figure me out, not someone else. Life is not about me controlling others. It's about me controlling me. Me. So that I don't need to control you in order to be okay. And then I can let you get on with your life, whatever it is you're supposed to do. Because you were not born to make me less insecure. That's not your role in life. Your role in life is not to make me secure. That's nobody's role in life. Nobody. You may think someone was born to take care of you. You are mistaken. And the higher you go up this ladder, the floors, the more conscious you become, and you realize everybody has their own path, and nobody's path includes you for a long time. That is shocking. We come together and we part. Sometimes it's death that takes you apart. But at the end of the day, the mystical truth is we may be with each other and sojourn for 20, 25, 35 years. It may be that we're together all of our lives, or not. But nobody is here to take care of you. Do you understand? We are here to learn to care for ourselves. And for some people, they can't bear that thought, so they stay on the fourth floor. That's too impersonal a notion. Okay, I'm going to hold it there. So when I'm teaching you this weekend, the capacity to expand your consciousness, I will often refer to this building. And I will say, this is a higher floor. And not everybody can go that high. When you think of the penthouse, you think of a consciousness like Buddha or Jesus. That literally had this consciousness that said they can be accepting of all people. Most of us are not there. I will admit, I am not there. I am not there. But I accept fully that that is the way we should be. So it is a struggle for me. It is a very conscious struggle for me. And I experience that struggle when I watch the news. And I will be very conscious, I have to admit that. And I lose my power very fast, very easily. And what's worse is that at the same time, I will tell you that I absolutely, totally believe that I, as I will teach you, that I have no idea what the bigger picture is in this moment. But I slip into my own first floor, and I respond to what I see in the moment, and I lose my grip. Because I love my country, and I lose my grip. And I find I can't bear it. And I have to crawl to the point where my psychic fingernails are bleeding up to a higher floor. And I have to pray as though my gut hurts to say, I've got to trust that something greater than myself is going on, and it has to do with evolution. And if this is what is required for us to move to whole, it's breaking me in half. But something is, and it is a struggle. But I am conscious of it. And it is so horrid. But I insist on taking myself up again and again and again. Because if I stay down there, I'm captured. And I will not be captured. I will not. And that is one choice I can make. I will not be captured in that negativity. And if that's the only choice I can consciously, constantly live by, that much I have accomplished.